Microsoft don't seem to be slowing down with the content updates, and they've now revealed dates for what we can expect to see later this year, and, well, when we can expect to see it. Now, Sim Update 15 should be arriving tomorrow, so for some of you that would be by the time you watch this video. Now, it has been delayed many times, so at this point I guess I'll believe it when I see it, although that said, it is looking pretty good to go right now. City Update 7, meanwhile, also known as the European Cities 2, is set for release on the 28th of May, not long away at all. These two updates are going to be following each other hot on the heels. June, meanwhile, sees another city update, which as yet remains untitled. And July has yet another city update. Microsoft are really packing this stuff in, aren't they? It wasn't that long ago I was wondering how they're going to fit all of this in this year. Now, as we get into July, there's another World Update. This one's releasing towards the end of July. It's World Update 17 and as yet is still untitled. Now, the release of World Updates has certainly slowed down this year. Number 16 was released back in March, so that will mark, a 4-month gap between World Update changes to the sim. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not exactly an extensive gap by any means, but it's certainly a fair bit longer than we previously had if you go back a ways. Oh, and there's also a highly anticipated release that hopefully should also be coming tomorrow. That's the new free airplane, the Airbus A320neo. Now, this one is more of a complex build. It's created by AnyBuilds. You may remember there's also an A320 already in the sim. This one was made by Asobo, so the new one by AnyBuilds is going to sit alongside that, which means you'll have the choice between using the complex build by AnyBuilds or the original one by Asobo. Now, another thing coming with Sim Update 15 will be some more user-submitted airport changes and improvements. Now, these have been made via the World Hub, which is still in alpha, and this is the app that allows simmers to head into Flight Simulator and make physical changes to the sim world. Once those changes are approved by Microsoft, they are then rolled out to everyone. So this new list that's coming hopefully tomorrow includes changes made to around 77 different airports. It's nice to see then that the World Update concept is actually working pretty well. Sticking with the subject of the World Hub for the moment, the latest feedback snapshot has a new entry requesting the ability to place objects. Now, essentially, people are requesting the ability to further improve and refine airports by making a wider variety of changes than is currently possible. Now, obviously, the potential problem here is people changing airports beyond recognition so that they no longer match their real-world counterparts. But either way, Microsoft have this entry down as under investigation, so it's something that might happen at some point. So the new feedback snapshots, which I mentioned right there, and there is a whole bunch of them here, and they're worth a slightly wider look at. Now, this is the first newest snapshot that we've had for over 3 months, and it does give us a brief feel of what to expect with both Flight Sim 2020 and 2024, but I'm only going to look at a few points here that really stood out to me. Now, an interesting entry on the feedback snapshot is called Cockpit Panel Selection. I did wonder what that meant. I wonder if people were hoping for the ability to select the cockpits in the sim, even though we have that ability. But no, what this actually means is an idea that I really do like. So the request is that once a simmer has selected the plane to fly along with its livery, they also have the option to choose the plane's instruments. Now, we do have some limited scope for this currently, and we also have the different versions of certain planes. For example, the regular Cessna 172, as well as the Cessna 172 G1000. Obviously, these both have completely different instruments. But the request here is for the ability to customize the cockpit panels, and I do think it's a neat idea. So essentially, you'll be able to swap out which ones you want and which ones you prefer to fly with. Microsoft again have listed this one as under investigation. Fingers crossed then it's something they ultimately choose to go ahead with. Now, elsewhere, there's a request for a world update that covers the Indian Ocean. Now, there's not a whole lot of updates that have been made to that area of the world, at least not over the past 4 years, so it's definitely in need of some attention. This region is especially beautiful. There's been a lot of areas I have flown around over there, and yeah, it looks nice already, but some improvements here would look really good. In fact, this is one of my favourite regions and areas in the entire sim, Larunia Island. And yeah, I know a whole bunch of you are going to be commenting on my pronunciation of that. Anyway, there's some really nice footage on the screen right here of that particular area. So if you ever do want to fly here, if you've seen this footage in the past and you've wondered where it is, that is exactly the location. So why not fly out there and check it yourself? So updates to all of these areas in the Indian Ocean would certainly be very nice to see. Now here's another interesting feature from the feedback snapshot. It's a request for a free flight mode on Arrakis in the Dune DLC. Now Microsoft has said this is not planned, and this is perhaps unsurprising. It also makes me wonder about the licensing terms for this free DLC. After all, the Top Gun Maverick DLC was recently removed from the in-sim store for those who hadn't yet downloaded it. I do wonder if the Dune DLC is also going to have an expiry date. Either way, if you're interested in a form of free flight for the Dune DLC, it is possible by modifying some of the game files. There's a video listed in the description below that shows you how to do this, and whilst the video is in Italian, it is nonetheless very easy to follow along because everything you need to do is, well, it's visual, just follow what's going on the screen. Another final thing that I wanted to touch on here is a request for multiplayer voice chat. Here in the year 2024, I find it really hard to believe that a sim like this doesn't actually have a built-in voice chat. Either way, Microsoft have said that this is under investigation. So there we have it, a few bits and pieces from the latest development update, giving us some nice dates as to when to expect all the upcoming content, as well as an updated feedback snapshot. Do let me know in the comments section which parts of this you're particularly looking forward to, if any. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. Why not check out the other videos on the screen right here, and I'll catch you next time. Do take care.